two, one. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. I'm your host, Doug Inkler. Joining me, as always, in the co-host seats is our good friends Angela Rose.
Hi, everyone.
And, of course, Mr. Darren Starling.
Yeah.
And we want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencil, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We also are proud to announce our partnership with Dubby, the Dubby Energy Drinks and Energy Powder line. Very, very good. I've been using it for almost 2 months now. Love the products. The products are really good. Just mix a small scoop in with about 20 ounces of water, and you're good to go. I've cut back on coffee and everything else. So excited to be working with them. If you want to check out their stuff, go to dubby.gg and put in code AZR10 at checkout to get 10% off your order. Tonight we are excited to welcome an awesome guest. He puts on a wonderful little convention up in St Albans, Vermont. Impressed us so much last year when we were there for his first con that we wanted to do something really, really special, something we've never done before. And we are honored to welcome Luke Hungerford from Railcity Fan Fest. Thank you for joining us, Luke.
Well, thank you for having me again, Doug. It's great to see you guys. How are things?
Wonderful. Things have actually been very crazy for me.
Good crazy?
If you count booking the flight for our guest, and then the following day the car basically dying and needing to buy a new car, all on top of trying to plan a move, switching careers, and everything else.
You know what? I'm in a similar position. My car's dead. I'm looking for new work. I'm right there with you.
But we are so excited and so honored to have you joining us tonight. I know it's going to be fun coming up June 24th and 25th up in St. Albans. You've got some good stuff going on that weekend.
Dude, I'm very excited. I think so this year we've doubled in size, which is huge. We're able to use a much larger space in the same venue that we had last year. And just our vendor count has doubled, which I'm super stoked about. And we've been advertising like crazy and just getting the word out as much as we possibly can around town. And I think that's been going a lot better than it did last year. I'm really looking forward to what I think is going to be a much bigger, much more exciting weekend.
I also wanted to remind you to reach out to Amanda Dagley at Z106.3 here in Plattsburgh. I had talked with her about your convention. She is not an anime nerd, but more of a comic nerd, general nerd. And she said to reach out to them about advertising.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. What's her name again?
Her name is Amanda Dagley. Dagley.
Yeah.
And just find Z106.3 or Z106.3.
Sweet. That's perfect. Cool.
So more ways of promoting the event. And as we announced last week here on the show, Anime-Zing Radio for the first time will be providing a voice acting guest for a convention. And we have confirmed Christy Rothrock will be joining us. She'll be flying in the Thursday night beforehand, staying with us all weekend. So excited about being able to help you out by bringing in your first guest.
That's so cool, man. I'm really excited about that. I think that's really, really awesome.
And I know she wanted to thank you again for allowing her to sell autographs and stuff as well, so she can make a little bit of money while she's out here.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's best case scenario. I think that's really great that she's open to doing it and open to coming to a brand new show that's still relatively small. I think that's really great. And
it came at a time where she had a lot of changes happen in her life in the last couple of months, as I had mentioned to you up at Vermont Sci-Fi, that she had just got married, moved from Oklahoma to LA, to leave the doing morning radio show host to pursue full-time voice acting. So things have been nuts.
Yeah, that's big. That's a lot.
And let the chaos commence.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
much.
guess so. That's crazy.
And hello, John Knight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight, whether it's live here on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, or if you're listening to us on the podcast platform after the fact. Definitely, if you're in the New England area, you've got to come and check out Rail City. Last year was your first year going on. We didn't know what to expect. We worked with you. We wanted to provide sponsorship with giveaways and stuff like that. And I was blown away by how you ran the con and how your staff handled everybody. No big name guests. It was vendor focused and fan focused, and you guys did an amazing job in such a tough market.
Well, thank you. That's really great to hear, and I think that's putting the focus on the vendors has been my priority since day one, and putting focus on not specifically vendors, but like everybody who's there, and making sure that everyone is having a good, comfortable time and having what they need. I think is like my biggest thing. Because if the people that I'm trying to work with aren't happy, then it's just going to be miserable. You know what I mean? So
Oh
like
yeah.
being able to do as much as we can to make sure everyone's comfortable and have what they need, and I think that's the most important part to a good show, is making sure your people are happy.
Oh yeah. And what can the fans who are coming this year expect from Rail City?
So, like I said, our show is it's doubled in size, so it's a much larger show anyway in terms of vendors and stuff to see. And this year we're going to be having throughout the entire weekend we'll be having like gaming competitions going on. So it'll be Super Smash or Fortnite, or I think there's going to be Among Us as well. And that's just like all day long. You can just jump in whenever you want, play as long as you want. There will be some competitions that you can join in and stay there for the entirety of the show. Along with that, we're going to be having. I'm kind of experimenting with this idea of having one-shot D&D campaigns that go for like an hour 15 minutes. So it's super quick. You get right into it. The campaigns are preset. The characters are preset. You just pick who you want to play as, and then you can go through, play the super quick, action-heavy story, and just play for a little bit. And I think that's something that's kind of neat that I haven't really seen at other conventions where there's tabletop gaming, but I don't know if
that that's something that's something in my wheelhouse.
Oh yeah.
Anime cons have been experimenting with it. Gaming cons, there's modules designed for 2 hours, 2-hour blocks, or what they call epics, where it's higher level characters and it runs for a 4 to 6 hour block, depending.
Whoa.
Those, if you like D&D, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If what you're looking for is I've never tried this before, let's try it, there's a lot of level ones. You can either build your own character with a guide, or there's pre-generated ones, or they let you just bring, like, there's caps, like you can't have a character that's higher than level 3.
Sure.
But you can play, but you can play with your own character that you've already built.
I think so. One thing that I've noticed about my area and my town is that this concept of like a comic convention is very new, and trying to saying to people, hey, Railcity Fan Fest, they don't really know what that means. And a lot of the people who are coming in, it's their first time attending something like this. So my thought is that it's exactly what you said. Like it's someone's first time doing it. It's their first experience with like tabletop gaming of any kind. So I'm trying to make it as accessible for anybody, whether, I think, excuse me, there's going to be a lot of kids. So if kids want to play, I think it has to be pretty quick, pretty easy to get into. And that's really what I'm aiming for, is really quick, fun, exciting little campaigns that if someone's never played, they get a little taste of it and then think, hey, that was pretty cool.
There's actually a large set of modules that are designed for that 1 to 2 hour time block.
That's fantastic.
And are family friendly. And you could and if you've got like younger children or people that just don't want to do the violence aspect, there's scenarios that you can literally redo to just be like skill checks instead of
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because I actually ran one at Anime Boston where that's exactly what happened. The players decided, nope, we're not picking a fight with this guy that the book says to fight.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, how do you want to do this? And they got creative and so outside of the box that eventually I just made them roll dice and arbitrary skill checks relevant to the scenario, and they finally let them have it.
That's really fun. That's really cool. A couple other things that we have going on this year that I'm excited about is one of our guests, Bill Diamond, is coming up. He used to work with Jim Henson, so he comes up with this very like Muppets adjacent exhibit that he sets up. I'm pretty stoked about that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And a new friend of mine, his name is Eric. He goes by Home Slice Puppetry, and it's weird. There's like two very exciting like puppet related things that I didn't really think I'd have. But anyway, he does like a puppet making workshop for kids, which I think will be a lot of fun. Last year, the stuff that we had for kids, I think was a big hit. And trying to lean into that, I think is a lot of fun. And we're going to be working closer with Make-A-Wish this year than we did last year. I really wanted to, last year, I wanted to give them as much of the spotlight as we could, but it didn't really work out very well. They were kind of like where we put them, they were kind of in the back corner. They didn't get a whole lot of travel in front of them, which I was kind of bummed about.
Like your main anime character?
What's that?
Like your main anime character, always in the back, kind of out of the way?
They're always in the back. Everyone's ignoring them. Yeah, exactly. But this year, we're going to have them like front and center, bigger space, and we're going to be hosting a raffle for them with, I'll show you, I just spent the last like 2 weeks working on this. So we're going to be raffling off these big cornhole boards that I've been working on.
Wow.
All proceeds will go directly to them. Pretty excited about that. Just because I want to give them a little bit more of what they deserve.
Very nice.
They do a wonderful thing.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, Eric Rowland gave me an autographed picture of his character from My Hero Academia. What about we see if we can give this away to one lucky Rail City attendee?
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds great. I think we can advertise for that. Get more. I think that's awesome.
Because Eric doesn't do many cons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't even know he was at Vermont Sci-Fi until Sunday morning when I actually had a chance to walk around and stop by the table. And it was one of those things, I know I told the story before on the show. I was like, I saw the name and I recognized the name, but I couldn't remember why, because it was early Sunday morning. I was by myself trying to get table stuff ready, hadn't fully had the coffee sink in or anything. I'm like, why do I know this name? And I'm looking, he's got the prints out on the table. I'm like, I don't think he's an artist. And he turns around and goes, hi, do you like anime? And I looked at him, I said, yes, I do. I do a podcast, and you've been on my show. He goes, wait, Doug? I was like, how you doing, Eric? He goes, oh my God, come here. Kylie told me she thought you were going to be here, because we've had him and his wife, Kylie Stewart, on the show. Because they both have done voice acting work in the anime industry. And Kylie does a lot of audiobooks and stuff like that. I think she writes her own books as well. Good evening, Shark. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Tonight, our guest is Luke Hungerford from Railcity Fan Fest, where we will be appearing here towards the end of the month. Angela's even going to make the trek up from Boston to join us on Saturday.
Oh, exciting.
Unfortunately, yep. Darren's a little too far away to come up for a weekend down in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a bit of a haul.
Knowing that there's going to be tabletop gaming, I will probably do some of that when we're not doing show stuff.
Fantastic. Love that.
And do something completely ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
naturally.
I know my wife is excited about having a table there as well. She's in the process of restocking all of her art supplies, the prints, the buttons, and the stickers, and also looking to do some one exclusive Rail City print commemorating Christy and Anime-Zing Radio joining forces for the first time. That's only going to be sold at Rail City.
Man, that's so cool. That's awesome that you guys have that connection. That's really neat. Like being able to take what you like, make a podcast out of it, and then form these actual connections in that community. That's so cool.
That was, as I told you last year, that was the whole reason I started the show, was to give back to the community, make connections with people. Much like you enjoy seeing people happy, enjoying what they're doing. Same here. If we can help people be a part of their success, whether it's an up-and-coming voice actor who nobody knows yet, and next thing you know, they have hundreds of credits to their name, or small businesses that we promote that grow, conventions, things of that nature. I just love being a part of the community.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And it's wild. Like I was looking up Christy, obviously. She has like well over 100 credits to her name. That's incredible.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of work.
She's amazingly talented, and we're very lucky to have become friends with her. She's been a guest on the show multiple times,
and she is a riot to talk to.
Oh yeah,
that's great. I'm excited to have her.
And I know that she's never been to Vermont before, so this is a first for her, and so we're excited for all around everything that's going on.
Great, that's awesome. And I think what I really like about that is, like, last year for you guys, for every booth there was a little like gift baggie. Yeah. And I'm trying to do the exact same thing this year. Obviously it's a lot harder with much more people coming on board, but I think for her coming all the way here to a place she's never been, to a con she's never been or heard of, just to get like a little something that seems like a nice little welcome for her. I think she'll appreciate that.
I still have that bag. I found it before Anime Boston, that we still had the bag from Rail City. And because I remember you had like little syrup in there and things of that nature, which I'm sure she would love to get some Vermont maple syrup.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What's funny is a lot of people thought that was applesauce. So they'd be like, "Oh hell yeah, applesauce!" And they try to like slurp it down, and it was just a ton of maple syrup instead.
Who would think that was applesauce? I knew it was maple syrup right off the bat.
You'd be surprised. I remember actually you showing me that, and the single serving like kids applesauce snacks are in the same pouch.
That's exactly it, with the same little twist cap and everything. It looks just like applesauce.
And if you're not reading the label,
okay.
Ooh, snap! They think it's either a juice.
Yep.
Or applesauce or something of the like. I'm laughing because I can see that.
And I was really excited to see that you had Bill Diamond. We've known him for years. He was a regular at Northeast Comic-Con, which was the event my wife and I got married at.
Oh, no way.
And so we've known Bill for years. He knew Evie he met Evie, our daughter, for the first time when she was about a month old. That was her first con. So
let me ask you this. You said that you and your wife got married at Northeast Comic-Con.
Yep.
Are weddings at cons, like, how often does that happen?
I've seen it twice.
Okay.
Once was Chase Con down in Saratoga the year we got married, which happened like a couple months before we got married at the Comic-Con. I've heard of people doing it, but it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
You get more proposals at cons than actual weddings.
Because makes sense. And that's my story.
Really?
My husband proposed. We met at another anime con when it was still in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And years later at the same convention, we were both cosplaying our Final Fantasy characters. And during the photo shoot is when he proposed, and all of our cosplay friends knew this was coming, and it was a thing. And
that's incredible. See, I ask because I work on a lot of ideas with my dad. He's super supportive about Fan Fest, and he keeps saying, it'd be so cool if you could get someone to get married at Fan Fest next year, like have your first like Railcity Fan Fest marriage. And I'm like, yeah, man, sure, why not? So it's really funny that you bring that up, because I had never heard of that before.
I mean, at PAX East this year, I didn't witness it. I heard about it after the fact, but there was a barbershop quartet themed from BioShock that was performing, and a proposal happened during the performance, and everyone was trying to find out about it after the fact to get like social media contacts and whatnot.
That's so funny. That's so funny. John, you ask, Luke, who got you into anime? And to tell you the truth, John, I I hate to say it here because I feel like this is the wrong place to say it. I do not really watch a whole lot of anime, and I feel like the anime that I do watch, I feel bad saying it because it's like Ghibli movies or like the Pokemon series. Love that stuff to pieces, but I'm not a huge diehard anime fan, which I feel bad saying here.
Luke is more of your Comic-Con nerd, which we include everybody here on the show. I have hit so many cons that are not just anime cons, and it's one thing that I love about Luke's convention is it's all inclusive. He doesn't turn anybody away. I saw a lot of anime cosplayers last year. I'm sure Luke couldn't tell you a single show they were from, but I know that I think there was some Genshin cosplay last year.
I was gonna say, if I can't recognize it, 10 to 1 says it's Genshin.
Genshin or League of Legends, yeah.
League hasn't.
That hasn't
not
been
as
strong
much
lately.
League. And with League, the stuff that I've seen, I've recognized nowadays.
I have a lot of my close friends like are into anime. I just upstairs when I got on here, I had friends that were over, and one of my buddies super into like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, eats that stuff up, and I'm sure that's absolutely amazing. And last week I started watching Akira, which I was like, this movie's incredible. This is so much fun, but I was at work and couldn't super pay attention to it, so I have to like actually finish it.
Akira is fantastic, and in a lot of modern stuff, you can see the influences.
Oh my god, yeah! Now that I've like seen a fair amount of it, I'm like, oh my god, it's everywhere.
And oh god, that is a ramble I could go down. How much of the class, just in media as a whole, the classics influence everything that comes after.
Yeah, of course. I think that's such an interesting concept, and I think about that a lot. Even from like you think of Star Wars and the millions and millions of things that have come from Star Wars, and like you think of all these cliches and all these things that you see everywhere in every movie, and they all come from the same places. And I think that's such an interesting concept where even though Star Wars influenced a million things, Star Wars was influenced by a million different things before it. And there's just this like whole rabbit hole that you can go down of like this influence, this influence, this. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
And a fun fact about Star Wars, there's a anime series that is based off of Star Wars. In fact, every Japanese studio did one episode of a Star Wars knockoff where they were free to do whatever they wanted.
Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus.
Awesome.
And they did the episodes, it's all individual episodes, not a single one connects to anything else. They're all standalones.
I loved that.
But it's fantastic because they all take different aspects of the Star Wars lore and tell a single episode story.
I thought that was such a cool show, and it seems goofy to say, but like the first episode is easily my favorite. Just the style of it, it's black and white. I thought that was just incredible. The action was amazing. The art style was so much fun.
If I remember correctly, one of my favorites was the one done by Studio Trigger, but that's also
Studio Trigger.
Exactly. Like I have not seen anything from Trigger that I didn't enjoy.
I know I haven't watched the newest season yet.
Same.
I've heard good things. I know, isn't there one episode that's done by the same folks who do Wallace and Gromit?
That wouldn't surprise me.
I'm pretty sure there is. Hold on, I'm gonna.
And from the chat, John's asking, "What is your favorite Star Wars movie?"
Ooh. Oh, that one flip flops all the time, and it goes between. I really love Empire, and I really love Revenge of the Sith. Like Revenge of the Sith makes me cry every single time. It's just such an emotional movie, and like just listening to a lot of the music from the prequels, I get choked up real easy. I got to go between Empire or Revenge of the Sith.
See, for me, I'm gonna say it's a toss up: Return of the Jedi, and the other one is actually Rogue One.
Rogue One is a close third for me. That movie rules.
See, for me, that was just so fantastic. And if you haven't watched Andor, Disney Plus, I will say I was skeptical of the Star Wars content when Disney bought Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I was extremely skeptical, but they have been hitting it out of the park.
Oh, easily. It's everything with the exception of, for me, everything with the exception of Book of Boba Fett has been incredible. And there were 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett that were great because they're episodes of The Mandalorian just thrown in there.
I actually enjoyed Boba Fett. But I think that's also more I enjoyed. I do not remember the character's name for the life of me. I enjoyed Ming Na's character.
Yes, Fennec Shand.
She was fantastic. I loved her character.
Yeah, she's really great, and I love what Star Wars is doing, bringing all the animated characters into live action. I know what's going to happen, but every single time I see one of those characters brought in, I'm so hyped. I'm like a little kid. It's awesome.
I'm just thoroughly enjoying the Star Wars content, and I'm glad. I'm just glad that I'm just glad that they're not sticking with the Skywalker story. That they're just deep diving into the rest of the lore.
Mm-hmm. Because as much fun as the Skywalker story was, we don't need more.
Exactly.
And everything else is way more interesting now.
Like Andor was fantastic. The Mandalorian is just the best thing ever.
I'm really, really looking forward to the Ahsoka series. I think Ahsoka is easily top 3 Star Wars characters for me. If not, she's number 1.
That's going to be good.
Yeah, just bringing in all the rebels and everything is going to be so great.
Going back to Rail City, I was looking at the vendors list that you had, and you're bringing in quite a few people that I know from the vendors world in New England, New York. Mm-hmm. Including friends of ours, the Talking Dead.
Oh, yeah. I'm stoked to have them back. They're a ton of fun. I think those guys, they're just super charismatic. They're super easy to talk to. I'm really excited to have them back around.
It was fun tabling across from them at Vermont Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
Especially where we knew those guys for quite a while.
Yeah, they're great guys. They're a lot of fun. And I know they just came out with their book, which I'm sure they're pretty excited about.
That did come out.
Yeah. I know they just posted a video like earlier this afternoon. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I think they just announced something else. Couldn't tell you what it is. All I know is they got something going on.
Also, I got to take a moment here to shoot out a very happy birthday to our sponsor, Gavin Goska with Home Circle Media. Hope he's having a wonderful time. He said it was the first time in years that he was not working on his birthday. So glad that he's able to get some time to relax. I asked if he wanted to join us for a few minutes tonight. He said he wouldn't be home till late. So hopefully he's out having a wonderful time and enjoying his birthday.
Yeah, if he's going to be out till late, you would hope that he's out at least having a good time.
With him, he could be doing anything. Gavin is somebody that we've known for many years. God, it's got to be over 10 years now that we've known him. He is a musician, owns his own anime store online and vends at conventions, homecirclemedia.com. And the band that he plays with is called Midnight Syndicate. They have been around for many years. They've got at least, they got to have like close to 20 albums out now. And it's a lot of like gothic horror stuff. They also have the only official Dungeons and Dragons soundtrack.
That's cool.
And we've hung out with Gavin a few times, met him at a few different conventions, and just awesome guy. Love the fact that he supported us right from the beginning. And so hopefully he's having a wonderful time, and maybe at some point we can get him out to Vermont for a Rail City.
Hey, we'd love that. The more the merrier, you know? And I think one thing that I'm excited about with one of the many things I'm excited about anyways is getting new vendors that are like just different things that I'm interested in. I'm really working over the next couple weeks to try and get somebody who does like reptile education, which I know has nothing to do with pop culture at all, but I personally love snakes and I think they're really neat. And I often will see like reptile vendors at cons, and if I can get the opportunity to look at a cool snake up close, Angela, you don't seem super stoked about this, but
No, that's more my brain just went, wait a minute, Doug, wouldn't that fall under the what one of the brothers we had on not too long ago, isn't that his thing?
I'm trying to remember.
He works in it. I remember him saying he worked in a zoo.
that's fun.
And a reptile thing would be great for me because I'm a turtle lover. Turtles are my second favorite animal behind
cats.
But
Doug, you remember what I'm talking about at least?
I think so, yes. The trouble is, it's been a while since we've actually had like guests on.
They were.
Hold on. What was it? Hatake and Sahara?
Yes. Thank you.
So, because I know that they're like biologists, and they are a set of cosplaying twin brothers who travel to a lot of New England area conventions, competing in masquerades, and have won top 2 at Anime Boston, I think, for like the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, good for them.
In Masters division.
Wow.
And their stuff is amazing. They have like 3D printers, and they make everything themselves, and
that's incredible.
It's unbelievable what they can accomplish, but their work schedule limits them to how many events they can go to.
I get that. I did over quarantine. I spent 10 months learning how to 3D print and sew to make my bat suit, and that was a lot of work. I competed with that one and got like a runner-up. I haven't 3D printed a costume in a long time. My big project right now is this big guy here. I'm printing off an astromech. I just love him to pieces.
I was going to say, that looks like an R2 unit.
Yeah. I think they're so fun because you see them at like the Sci-Fi Fantasy Expo, and you see Hayes there with his, and it's just so charismatic and so much fun, and he's so recognizable.
Oh,
as you see R2, even if you don't like Star Wars, you're like, oh my God, it's that guy, It's like seeing Kermit the Frog.
Or half of the puppets Bill Diamond brings.
Yeah, exactly.
And
hello, Todd.
Hey, Todd, good to see you.
I have to throw a shout out to Todd and to another one of my coworkers, Garrett, who have been absolutely amazing in helping me get back and forth to work this week. Todd helped me with some dump runs that I had to do yesterday to clean out a storage unit where I was without a car all week because my car decided to shit the bed.
I'm right there with you.
I got to, say a huge heartfelt thank you to Garrett and Todd for helping me out with rides and everything this week, because this week was stressful. But bright things are coming ahead, and looking ahead, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming on. I told Todd he needs to come out to Railcity because he would have a great time. Todd is a huge anime fan. He works in the bay beside me at the dealership, and we talk anime constantly throughout the day.
That's so much fun. That's awesome.
He's the only other anime nerd at Riley Ford.
I'm right there with you, though. Like you said, like my car has been dead in my driveway for probably a good 2 months now. I've had to take the bus into work every day for the last couple months. That's been a pain. So
what happened to your car?
What's that?
What happened to it?
I don't know. I don't know anything about cars. It just kept dying on the interstate. So it would die on the interstate. I'd have it towed in, spend a ton of money on it. They'd say, yeah, we fixed it up. And then I'd bring it back out and it'd die again. So I'm like, well, what do I know?
How old is the car?
Not very. It's like a 2013, maybe.
So 10 years old.
It's a Chevy Equinox, and it's on its last legs. It's not great.
It might be time to just trade it in as is and get a new car.
You better believe it. You're absolutely right.
We'll get a good Ford dealership.
Oh, there you go.
I will say, with the move coming up, ironically, Railcity will be the last convention that I attend before I move.
Oh, exciting. Where are you guys moving to?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. That's a big move.
Yep.
So you guys are what? You're in Plattsburgh, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a haul.
and going to be moving down closer to my family. I'm going to be leaving the dealership, which makes me sad because I love where I work, love the people I work with. They treat us great. The location is great and everything. But moving down there, I have the opportunity to have a dream job of mine, which is working for a railroad.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
So fingers crossed for Tuesday. I have my physical. I pass that. Then it goes down to at like the weekend after Rail City. I will be driving 19 hours to Georgia for conductor training.
That's a haul, man. Golly.
The good part in that is I'm going to try to plan it out where I leave Friday night, sleep in the car at rest areas for a little bit, so that Saturday I can get down to North Carolina and spend Saturday night with Darren at his place.
Oh, there you go.
As long as he's still awake.
That's awfully on brand. Great.
Yep.
And then get down to Georgia for Sunday. Depending on what time I get in, I may be a part of a live show that Sunday night. Maybe not. It'll be July 2nd. If not, I know Angela and Darren will have things under control.
Yep.
There you go.
And
absolute worst case scenario, it will be me rambling about God knows what.
Gotta love that.
That's what we do anyway. Just rambling about God knows what. I don't know if we've ever had a show we've stayed on topic the entire show.
I mean, it's impossible. It can't be done.
Yeah.
God, no.
We found a YouTube channel that is entirely science-based. And right before I jumped on the call, we were watching a YouTube video where the kid made uranium glass.
Seems safe.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He actually.
I think he was on Trash Taste, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Niles Red is the channel.
Yeah, I think he was a guest on Trash Taste.
This does not surprise me. He's actually intelligent. He's just an idiot.
Yeah, HH is right there with it.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yep. And it's hilarious. And how my husband got me sucked into this channel was the video where he made the purest chocolate chip cookie.
Where it's as much chocolate chip as it is cookie?
No, it is all the purest ingredients ever. AKA not for human consumption things.
Right, that seems vile.
And I was intrigued, so I said, okay, this I have to see because baking is a hobby of mine.
Oh, there you go. There's a guy that I watch, William Osmond, who did an experiment that was, at what point can you tell that there's sawdust in your granola bar? So he'd make a granola bar, add a little bit of sawdust, and then he just upped the percentage until it was like 80% sawdust. And that's around where they could tell, like, hey, I'm pretty sure this is sawdust.
I've seen a few William Osmond videos too.
He's great. I really like him.
Now, some of the other vendors that you're going to have up at Rail City include Nerd Urbanity is going to be coming back, which a fun little fact, I don't know if you knew, but you know how last year we did a contest where anybody who subscribed to the channel was going to be entered for a chance to join us for a voice actor interview?
Yes.
Well, Rick from Nerd Urbanity won that.
Rick is so cool.
Rick is awesome.
And he joined us for the interview with Josie McCoy from Genshin Impact.
That's so awesome. He's such a good dude, and I like seeing him around town every once in a while. I bought a little Transformers toy off of him for a friend of mine for his birthday. And he's like, "Oh, here you go. I threw this in for you." And it was an original like 1980s Transformer the movie poster. That it was just so cool. He's such a good guy.
Yep. And HH is sharing that he's a hobby chemist and no, not completely smart, take risks that people shouldn't, and sometimes it doesn't work out very well. You just gotta hope.
So it's funny you say that. One of my oldest friends just got his PhD in chemistry a year or two ago, and he's a pretty smart dude. He's got his PhD in chemistry. He's one of the dumbest men I know. And anything he says, I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Well, there's a thing called book smart and a thing called street smart. Those who have one usually doesn't have the other.
And we've seen so much. I have seen so much proof of this. And one of my husband's best friends has his degree in green engineering and is actually quite smart in his field. But oh my god, he is the dumbest fucking moron sometimes. like this kid literally put a pot of water to boil to cook food, left the house. We came home to an empty house and found found what was a pot of water at one point, and the stove's still on.
It's just a very hot pot.
And the group text went out, which one of you idiots did this?
My buddy, we rip on him all the time for it. I sent a picture of, I made egg in a whole toast, where you cut out a hole in a piece of bread, you put an egg in it, you toast it up like that. So I sent a picture, that was my breakfast, and he said, he was like, Luke, how'd you get the egg in the middle of the bread like that? And I was like, hey man, don't you have your PhD in chemistry? I was like, I cut a hole in bread, man. What do you think? What do you think?
I've never actually tried that, but it looks like it would be good.
It's egg with bread. It is delicious.
It's a novelty. There's no reason to me. There's no reason to do it other than like, oh, I'll try this out once. I love eggs on toast. Don't get me wrong, but there's no reason to cut a hole. You're just wasting your bread.
Exactly.
Unless you eat the hole while the rest of it's cooking.
To be fair, yeah, you toast that up with some butter, and you get this crispy little like bread circle. Woo.
Or what you do is you take the circle and you dip it in the yolk.
Oh yeah, now we're talking. That's good stuff. Love that noise.
Cause who am I kidding? I just like food.
Yeah, you can't beat it. I had a ridiculously big breakfast this morning that kept me full until about 4 p.m. And it was very similar. 2 fried eggs on top of a whole pile of home fries, and you just glorp all the egg into the home fries, and you just eat that. Delicious.
We had nachos.
For breakfast?
No, that was lunch and dinner for me.
Oh, sweet. There you go.
And
homemade nachos.
HH is saying eggs Benedict. Now we've got the chat going on food.
I am so torn on eggs Benedict. I want to like it so bad, and I've tried to like it so many times. There's something about hollandaise, can't do it. Too much, too rich.
See, that is why I love it. It is a special treat thing.
Yep.
It's a special treat thing, and then if I eat eggs Benedict, that is my big meal for the day, and then I don't eat again until dinner.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good move.
I don't know much about I haven't really had eggs Benedict. One thing that we recently tried, because we've seen a lot of Japanese YouTubers talk about it, and we were able to find it in the local store up here, is the Japanese mayonnaise, which is a little different than like Hellmann's and stuff like that. It's got a little different kick to it. Well, and I don't know if I can eat regular mayonnaise again because it's that damn good.
Kewpie has sugar in it.
Oh, Kewpie mayo? Yeah, we've had that. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh, I love that. That was delicious.
It is significantly better than American mayonnaise.
Oh, hell yeah.
But it has sugar in it. That's what it is.
Now, that'll do it. Nothing like adding sugar to my eggs.
That is a very Japanese thing to do.
Yeah, I mean it's great. I'm all for it.
Like, if I remember correctly, they add sugar and they add, I want to say it's fish sauce.
That checks out. That seems like those are two. That's like a pretty common Japanese ingredient.
It's one of those sauces. I think it's fish sauce. It might be soy.
Checks out. Let's see. Let me take a look here. Let's see if I can figure it out.
But then again, when I go back to Japan, I'm going to have to try so much more food because now I know significantly more about these things that I did in 2018.
Compared to American mayonnaise, which uses the whole egg, Kewpie mayo is made with only egg yolks, which makes it lush, smooth texture and a deeper yellow color. There you go. The more you know.
Huh.
Yeah. Wow. We've all learned something. How about it?
Oh, yeah.
Fish sauce is definitely good, especially after you see how it's made. I don't think I've ever seen how fish sauce is made. I always just assume they squeezed a fish and just kind of got that goop out of there.
I'm not entirely sure I want to know.
I don't think I want to know either.
No, I'm sure it's fine.
Breakfast deviled eggs is another one from the chat.
Yeah, pancake breakfast deviled eggs. That's an interesting concept.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with that.
I do like deviled eggs.
So do I. What was that, Darren?
I didn't say anything. I was just kind of agreeing. Odd concept.
Darren, what's your favorite way to eat eggs?
For the longest, it was scrambled, but now I've gotten to where I'll have them just about any way you give them to me. Deviled, unfortunately, would be toward the least favorite.
Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you. To me, deviled, overrated. I'm a fried egg kind of guy. If you can drink the yolk with a straw, I'm in.
About to say, I like sunny side up too. So
I do like the scrambled, but you've got to add some cheese in there.
Gotta have cheese.
Gotta have cheese and the sriracha ketchup.
Ooh, yep.
Nope. You lose me. You lose me at ketchup. However, being said, if it's scrambled eggs, it's got to be cheddar cheese and a dollop of salsa.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty fun.
I'll agree with salsa too. If I don't have this sriracha ketchup, I'll go for salsa.
But then you're going for more of a Tex-Mex style thing.
Mm-hmm. You get more of your breakfast burrito sort of thing.
That's typically what I do. And
that's my move. Every single morning for like the past 6 months, I've had the exact same breakfast burrito, and I have not gotten tired of it even a little bit. It's the perfect food every single day.
I'll agree with that, HH. HH says the best part of Sunnyside is dipping the toast.
Absolutely.
Sunnyside don't do it for me. It's over easy. If I'm doing fried eggs, it's over easy.
Okay, yeah. I can see that because
slight difference, but
it is. It's such a subtle difference. And because with sunny side up, you could still get some of that like egg white that's not quite cooked enough. Not it.
And I think that's exactly what it is. But as soon as the yolk is overcooked, nope, right out.
Mm-hmm. So I really like asking this question. How many eggs do you think you could eat in one sitting before you just like explode?
I could not finish a 4-egg omelet once in a restaurant.
Whoa. All right.
In omelet form, I think my high is 5-egg omelet. If I'm just eating eggs itself, I think I'll average making like 6 or 7 if I'm really hungry.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's
I could probably go more, but
for me, it's typically if I'm doing it at home by myself, I typically will scramble 2.
Yep.
If I'm at a restaurant, it's typically 3.
Oh, you get a little crazy at a restaurant.
No, that's typically just how it comes, and then because it's in front of me, I eat it.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. The social norms. I like to think that if I were at home and I was specifically focusing on like, all right, I'm going to eat a shit ton of eggs, 10 at the very most, and then I'd probably get sick afterwards. But
I would be tempted to see if I could do 12. Just can I eat a carton in a sitting?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I can do a dozen donuts, no problem.
Oh, you can do eggs with ease. They just slide right down.
A dozen donuts. Good
Wait,
God.
Don't forget we host the Krispy Kreme challenge.
Yep.
That's true. Krispy Kremes are like 70% air, so that's kind of cheating.
Okay.
It depends because the challenge. I mean, yes, I'll agree they've gotten smaller over the years, but the challenge is still kind of interesting. It's basically a 5K run from the NC State Center, NC State's campus, to the store, eat a dozen donuts, and run back.
That's disgusting.
All right. On that lovely note, is there a Krispy Kreme in Vermont,
No.
or is Vermont still Dunkin' Donuts territory?
We're very much so Dunkin' Donuts territory. That does not mean that I am a strictly Dunkin' Donuts kind of guy. I get bloated with Dunkin' Donuts. I don't like their food very much. Coffee's fine. The only way you're going to get Krispy Kremes is if a high school kid is selling them for a fundraiser.
I say this living in Boston, in case you couldn't tell from what you could see of the wall. Our living room is the sports memorabilia room, because that's where all the baseball and hockey stuff got hung. But curiosity, because where we are, it's all Dunkin' Donuts, and the nearest, and when we looked it up, the nearest Krispy Kreme was at one of the casinos, either Foxwoods or Mohegan.
Let's see. Nearest Krispy Kreme. Where am I at? Donuts near me on the Krispy Kreme website. All right.
We have turned into food talk tonight.
Oh, no.
Nothing wrong with Food Wars.
I was gonna say food is a rabbit hole we have not gone down.
There are no Krispy Kremes around here.
That being said, outside of Dunkin' Donuts, is there a good place to get a donut near the venue for Railcity?
So what's interesting, I tried to get these guys in last year, but they weren't able to because they're new. There's a new business that just opened up here in St. Albans called the Hangry Donut Bar. And they are a place that you have to get to first thing in the morning because they only make so many and they sell out stupid fast. But they're all these super over-the-top donuts covered in like cereal and all kinds of good stuff, or bacon or frostings or whatever kind of toppings you want. They make some good-looking donuts, and I've heard they're delicious. But they're right on Main Street. They're 3 minutes away from the venue. Yeah, I tried to get them on board, but it's just the two of them. They're a married couple, so it's just those two with their storefront, and they're busy people.
Well, those are your better places, to be honest.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and we have hole in the wall places like that here. I'm sure I have pictures of some of them on my Instagram because I'm a foodie and I do that.
Yeah, this
but
place.
Now that I know that, if it's literally minutes from the convention center.
Yeah, but like I said, you got to get there like first thing in the morning. Here, Are
we talking 5 a.m. first thing?
Not 5 a.m. first thing. No, not that. Not that early.
Shoot an email to me with the name so I remember it. That way.
Oh yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
That way, Saturday morning after we leave the hotel, we can be sure to get there and get our donuts before heading to the venue.
Here you go. I'll send it to you. How often do you use Instagram?
Yes.
I am sometimes.
Well, never. I just sent you the profile on Instagram anyways. Angela, is yours just Angela Rose?
Lady Angela Rose.
It kind of reminds me whenever we went ski in the mountain in West Virginia, there was one of the restaurants would serve like a breakfast. I forget what they had, like really early in the morning, and you had to make your way down the mountain because it was at the bottom of the slope. As soon as the runs were open in order to chance to eat breakfast there, they only served it for like an hour or two.
Dang, so you really got to get there.
Yep. I remember waking up one morning and meeting my friend's dad out there because he was the one that told me about it and he offered to go with me. I don't think my dad was up for the trek that morning, so it was just me and my friend's dad.
Oh yeah,
that sounds like a good pilgrimage.
And I see that they're open 9:30 to 2. on Saturday and Sunday. So
Yep.
we'll have to send somebody for the run because we'll have to get there.
You know what? Tell you what, I'll reach out to them and I'll see if they can provide some fancy donuts. Because I know, so like last year we had donuts and coffee for all the vendors in the morning, and
Yep.
we're doing that. We're doing that again, just from the gas station across the street, the Jolly. They do a great job with donuts and coffee because there's the dunks right there. So, but I will see if these folks will be able to send some fancier ones, and we'll probably end up having to like cut them up, split them up, so everybody can share. But nothing wrong with fancy donuts.
No. I like donuts.
No, I like donuts.
I will just enjoy the pictures of them.
There you go. That's good enough.
All right.
And once again, just like last year, we will be live streaming from Rail City during the event for a few hours on Saturday and a few hours on Sunday. So it's going to be fun to be able to live stream from Rail City. I know we had fun last year with that. Luke will make his appearance from time to time as he typically goes around and checks on everybody.
Here's another ridiculous, potentially bad idea, Doug.
Okay.
What if during the con, potentially we live streamed me either running or playing a 1 hour D&D session?
We could do that.
That could be fun.
Everyone playing obviously would have to consent to being on live stream.
Yeah. Be a little mini adventure zone.
But
there would not be any issue with that. Also, I do know that Saturday of Rail City is the last day of the 75-day hard challenge that my wife is doing. So she will not be able to eat as much as I know she would like. She thought she was going to be done with it beforehand. But knowing that she's going to have to drink like a gallon of water during the con, there'll be probably quite a few times that I'll need to cover her table while she's doing bathroom breaks.
That's an impressive challenge.
But I'm just...
So walk me through the 75-day hard. I've heard of it. I know about it, but it's like no alcohol, no added sugars.
She just posted about it earlier. She has completed 55 of the 75 days. She has to do a 45-minute workout of her choice, a 45-minute workout outside, regardless of weather, a diet of her choice, which she has a certain amount of calories that she has allowed herself to take in on a day. It could be whatever. If she wants something that's higher in calories, it limits what she can eat the rest of the day. So she has to plan her meals accordingly. No alcohol. Has to read 10 pages nonfiction. And I think there's a couple other things that she had to do. A progress picture every day, which she doesn't like taking pictures of herself normally. So this is a huge thing that she has been doing. I'm so proud that she has gone 55 of the 75 days. We figured out that the last day of it is the Saturday of Rail City. So unfortunately she won't be able to eat as much with everybody else. But I know she's still excited about coming out and has to plan her meals accordingly and things of that nature.
Man, that's awesome. That is such a huge undertaking that I can't imagine, especially the reading 10 pages of nonfiction every day. Like, I'm not going to say like reading's hard. That's not the case at all. But like, you want to read something a little fun sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, she can still do that as well. But like, she has been getting the self-help books. Things like there's 4 books in the series for The Secret. We have a couple of those books, got a couple of newer books for her last week that she has to read. I've been listening to the Secret series on audiobook because I have an issue when I read, I fall asleep.
Me too. I did that with Jurassic Park yesterday.
So I listen to audiobooks so I can take it in that way, as opposed to sitting there and reading like physical copies. And because of the move, I have literally the bookshelf beside me. I have packed away 95% of the books that was on there.
Whereas for me, I'm the exact opposite. I'm a huge book nerd. My degree is English Lit. Audiobooks, I can't do. I've tried. But I've but I read literally almost everything.
That's very impressive. That's a lot.
I won't lie. One thing that got me into audiobooks, and this is a fun story, kind of AZR related, but not really, because I was on Crossing the Void Radio as a co-host, and we had Todd Habercorn, well-known voice actor, on the show, but he double booked himself.
Oh, yep, this story.
He had a recording session for an audiobook. So he goes, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will mute the phone so that the producer and director can't hear you, but you can hear everything I'm doing, and you can hear me record this audiobook live.
What fun.
And if you have questions, just type them out on Skype, and I'll answer them as best as I can while talking to the director.
That's so funny.
And so we got 2 hours of listening to Todd Habercorn record an audiobook, which I then had to go and get on Audible. I had to search it and was like, I need this book.
When I tried audiobooks in high school, it was on tape cassette. And what happened was I couldn't focus. And then stopping it in literally the middle of a scene because I arrived at school. It just didn't work. And podcasts, I find much shorter chunks that I'll put on like while I'm out biking or something like that, where it's a timed thing.
Yeah, easier to take in.
And then my books, I will read.
And the title, for anybody who's interested in that book that Todd narrated, it's called Heroes, Gods, and Monsters of the Greek Myths.
That sounds very fun.
Ooh.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So I've listened to it. I didn't download it on the phone when I re-got the app, but it actually was quite entertaining. Todd is a phenomenal actor. Anybody who knows Todd's work will know that he's an amazing voice actor, and we were lucky enough to meet him not last year at Kineticon, but the year before. And then another voice actor, Terry Doty, that we've become friends with, introduced me to Aaron Kaiser Horn's books, Eyes of Lightning, Wings of Thunder, and a few other ones. It was a nice nonfiction or a nice fiction author with some really interesting stories, who we've had on the show a few times. I've had the honor of interviewing Aaron a couple of times between the two different shows, and really enjoy her work.
That's cool.
Nope.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys. I really only had time tonight for an hour on the show, so I'm gonna take off. But I want to say, thank you guys for having me again. This is great. I'm always happy to be a guest. Always happy to see you guys.
Before you go, let everybody know where they can find information about Rail City, where they can find you. You know it as our shameless plugging section. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, I think the easiest way is just railcityfanfest.com. That's our website with all the information that you need. Whether you want to be a vendor or a guest or tickets or whatever, it's all right there. And all of our social media is the exact same. On Facebook, it's Rail City Fan Fest. On Instagram, it's Rail City Fan Fest. On OnlyFans, it's Rail City Fan Fest. That part's not true. It's pretty easy to find. And the dates are June 24th, 25th in St Albans, Vermont. Tickets are like $12 a piece. Kids 12 and under are free. So it's looking to be a fun time.
And HH says, "Hey man, you were awesome. Thank you."
Oh, thanks, Guy. That's so nice. So I can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks now.
Yeah, it's later this month. Gear up. Gotta start losing your hair like I have.
Yeah, no,
That's why I wear a hat.
Right.
I'm losing hair because I wear a hat all the time.
Uh-oh, double-edged sword.
And I just have too much hair. Y'all want some?
I'm all right. You can keep that. Anyway, thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Yeah, that was Luke Hungerford from Rail City Fan Fest. a lot of fun's going to be had later this month. If you can come up to St. Albans, Vermont, come on out, enjoy the convention. Luke puts on a great show. And fun fact, if you're interested in vending the show, he really does take care of his vendors. I know he mentioned about in the morning, he likes to provide donuts and coffee for the vendors as they set up for whomever wants it. He also provides lunch for the vendors as well. There'll be sandwiches and chips for the vendors in a green room, so to speak, which is a workers and vendors only area. And he really does an amazing job at taking care of the people around him. And that's one reason why I am so excited that we're going to be working with him this year and why we're bringing Christy to the show. And it still boggles my mind and amazes me that we were able to get everything put together to bring Christy. This was no small undertaking to organize everything, but man, the payoff is going to be amazing in experience alone.
It's going to be worth it.
Shit going to get wild. And tonight's topic apparently was food. Last week we got onto the subject of talking about, because of my comment about smartphone, about, having multiple wives that are sisters or cousins or things of that nature. Tonight it was all about food and donuts and stuff. Todd, her birthday is the weekend after Railcity, so you can still make it. I'm gonna get him in trouble. But no, seriously, bring Brie out. She could have some fun. Maybe we can get something nice for her birthday while she's out there. Get her hooked on the anime like you are.
Or, if nothing else, come out, explore, and then we all go out for food.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
HH, if you can come on up, man, it would be great to see you again.
Because
more, HH says, yes, more family friendly, which the con was really family friendly. It was such a relaxed atmosphere in there that we saw vendors who just let their kids kind of run off and just have fun with other vendors' kids and stuff like that. Todd being a smartass.
Yep.
Wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Well, he's your friend, so there's that.
Yeah. But as I've mentioned in the past, we have two daughters, and the oldest daughter spent the weekend here. And of course, when she's here after Evie goes to bed, I usually sit down and watch some anime with her, some kid-friendly shows. Not that there's a ton of those anymore, but she enjoys Kuma Bear, and we introduced her to your boy Kong Ming. And I don't think you've seen that one, Angela, or have you?
No. But I think, much like everything else, it really does. What's geared for children is subjective.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much geared for children, but age appropriate.
Yeah, and that's quite subjective, even from parent to parent, I've noticed.
Oh yeah. Darren, did you watch your boy?
Nope.
It actually is really. It's a really good show. I did get down and watch it through its entirety, and now rewatching it again with Winry last night. The music is fantastic in it, and the fact that they were able to, yes, it's an isekai per se, bringing Kong Ming from ancient China to Japan, modern day Tokyo, where he then becomes this, part-time singer's manager and use all the strategies he used in wartime to help a singer become successful. The way that they go about things is very creative. I think the thinking part of it, Ange, you would enjoy, like the historical side of things and how he uses some of the stuff that he used in War to bring fans to an unknown singer is kind of creative.
See, I do enjoy the historical stuff. Historical fiction as a genre, I enjoy.
So I think you would enjoy that side of the story more so than the fact of, hey, look, it's an isekai, because you really don't get that after the first episode.
Because isekai...
I know you hear isekai and immediately you're shut off because you think overpowered, the typical isekai tropes and all that crap.
It's not even that. It's just as a genre, it never like isekai just never grabbed me, period. But again, that's
there's always exceptions to the rule.
Exactly. And it seems like creative and well written isekais are so few and far between that it becomes why bother.
This is one that I honestly think, and knowing the shows that you like, and knowing that you like shows that make you think, have some sort of historical background or stuff of that nature, is up your alley. And that's why I think you would enjoy this one. It's not so much being like, oh, watch like, ReZero or Konosuba or something like that.
And I'm not even making fun of isekai at this point. It has its place.
On my TV.
It has its place. The people that like it have their reasons, and you know what? We all have our guilty pleasure stuff.
Except you, Lily. As she said in a comment a couple weeks ago.
Nothing to feel guilty for. I do remember that. But I mean, everybody's got the things they enjoy, the fluff. And it has its place. But if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that since joining the show, I've actually been watching a lot more anime than I would otherwise, and I'm watching a lot more things that I wouldn't necessarily even look at.
And you found more stuff that you like.
I am finding more stuff that I like. I'm also finding stuff that I question.
Oh, come on. Interspecies Reviewers wasn't that bad.
I still haven't seen that one.
I've told Todd about that one, and he wants to watch it. And I know he said that his girlfriend is intrigued by it.
At this point, I know I should watch it, but it's one of those. It's far funnier this way.
If you get through 2 episodes of Interspecies Reviewers, Angela, I'll be surprised.
Sober?
I'll be even more surprised if you're sober.
And HH, there's a trap of what is easily consumable by the widest audience, and that will always be
pre-teens up to adults.
Up to young adults.
Up to young adults.
Across all genres of entertainment. And I think that's fairly accurate.
Yeah. And Todd says, I'll watch it, don't you worry. I did give him the link that Darren gave me on where he could find it.
But that actually came up in one of my Discord servers, and when I said I'd never seen it, they actually threatened to put it on again just so I could watch it. But it hasn't happened.
Todd talking about his girlfriend. She will be watching it too, whether she wants to or not. It's going to happen.
Understand that there will be a trade-off for that. that if you subject her to that, then you're going to get subjected to something she wants you to watch.
He says misery loves company. Now, I know that we've all been trying to keep up with shows, and Darren, you had a busy week of watching anime.
Yeah, because I was like, screw it, I need to catch up on shows. And I was actually able to stay up till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning to do so. So screw it.
So which shows did you watch and catch up on?
Vinland Saga. Angela.
That I haven't gotten to yet because life, the universe, everything. It's on my list. It's actually one of the priorities for next to be started.
It's very good. That's all I gotta say.
Yep.
It's very good. Let's see. I finished one of the anime from last season, I think. I don't remember which one though. Let's see. I did Isekai Cheat Skill. Caught up on that one.
How is that one? I have not started that. That was on a possible list.
It's interesting. I mean, I like it. It's one of those entertainment ones. I mean, the concept is cool. The guy goes back and forth between the two worlds. Like, so he levels up in another world, and a lot of his physical abilities that he gains over there, he is actually able to take back to the real world. Basically, if you ever saw any of Dragon Ball and watched Gohan play baseball as a high school student, not quite that feat, but very similar. He's just very good at what he does. Jumping out of a 4-story school building and landing upright, and all the students going, "What the hell?" Also, there's a lot of girls in the series.
More potential waifus for Darren.
None of these are really waifus though. Anyway, so there's that one. I caught up on Smartphone. Heard Doug's bantering.
What is your opinion on season 2?
It's interesting. I'll give it credit.
I like the fact they actually have a story.
I like it's following a story. I did forget some stuff, but predominantly how he met the girl with the umbrella and the bear. I forget how those two were acquainted, but remembered their purpose afterwards. Then let's see, what else did I do? I caught up on Kubo earlier today. Kubo won't let me be invisible. So wholesome rom-com anime. It was discontinued airing, or took a pause of airing last season because of studio issues. So it resumed this season. Still a very wholesome anime. And then let's see, what else did I do? Oh yeah, The Dangers in My Heart, which I was told you that I was going to watch at the beginning of the season. I highly encourage you and Leanne to watch it. It is incredibly cute, and honestly, it has one of the best couples potentials of the season. I don't care what anyone says. It's another one of those two that never in a million years should make a good couple, but they do. Let's see. And then there was one other that I feel like I'm missing.
Konosuba?
No, that's getting started. There's several others I need to catch up on, but those were the main ones that I did. Let me see. Let me go down the list and see.
And while Darren's checking on that, I know, Ange, you said you've been trying to keep up with 4 shows.
Yep. My Home Hero is a fucking head trip, and I love it. It's that one is really good. That one I'm really enjoying. Watching the plans within a plan within a plan and watching everybody be oblivious to the nonsense. It's so awesome.
So basically, Overlord, where no one knows the plan.
Oh, everyone knows everyone knows a plan. Not everybody knows the same plan. And for anyone actually watching it, I don't want to spoil things, but let's just say it's Yakuza. It's got some Yakuza content. And it's just it's
just pure chaos.
It is, and I'm enjoying it. That's probably my serious anime for the season. I kind of touched on Mashal. It's ridiculous. It's basically
Harry Potter meets Black Clover.
Yeah. Down to and including the house rivalries, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't take itself seriously. The main character literally is obsessed with cream puffs. It is ridiculous. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. And then I've already talked about, and then Skip and Loafer is the wholesome, cute, like just so well written one that you two should watch.
It's in a work in progress, ma'am.
And then the last one I'm caught up on is Opus Colors. It's art. It's emotional. There's probably boy love in there somewhere. But it's actually really, really good.
Well, this season has been the season for wholesome shows. Period. End of story.
Yep.
I mean, even Gigax said in his video, this is just more wholesome. How many wholesome shows do we have on this? Do we have this season? I can't crap on any of them.
And then Joey, in one of the episodes of Journey Across Japan, Joey said something about not watching any new anime. But there's that.
Oh, and the other show I started was kind of similar to some of the other shows I've seen. If you liked 1 Week Friends, if you liked Takagi, if you liked Kubo, then My Clueless First Friend. Basically, girl, this is in the younger years. I can't remember if it's later year grade school or early middle school. Girl is basically shunned by the entire class for being the weird outcast about like the girl from Watamote. That's the kind of vibe she gives off. And basically this transfer student, this young boy comes in. He's kind of a chuny and thinks everything about her and what her classmates are saying about her sounds cool, and basically kind of introduces himself into her life as being the only one that doesn't mind talking to her, going out of his way to associate with her, yada, yada, yada. Basically trying to I don't know. He just, there's nothing negative that he can find about her, despite what everyone says. He's not embarrassed to be seen with her. He's not embarrassed to hang out with her, and the rest of his class just don't get it, and she herself don't get it. She's like, "But I'm a weirdo." He's like, "I don't care. I think you're cool." So more wholesome fun right there. And then, of course, I started it, haven't caught up to any of the episodes, but Tony Kawa.
I haven't started Tony Kawa yet. I know I probably should because I enjoyed the first season. Behind on a few shows that I started, including Some Into Another World for a second time, The Cafe Terrace. I haven't seen Ross in the chat, but it's still early. He may still show up. On his recommendation, I checked this out, and it's just insane. It's definitely the ecchi show of the season of the shows I'm watching.
I have to say, and there haven't been many ecchi recently.
And it's like chaotically stupid but entertaining. The concept of, the guy's grandmother dies, he takes over her cafe and finds 5 girls living there who worked part-time for his grandmother and were living there as family, and he's trying to figure out how to make. At first he was going to sell the cafe, but then decides that he wants to try to turn the cafe around and make a profit. The girls hate his guts because he's just a pompous ass by how he does everything at first, but he slowly warms up to them, pays attention. They slowly warm up to him. Each girl has her own quirk.
So kind of the Amagi Brilliant Park vibe. How they all treated him when he tried to take over?
Not quite like that, but I can see that there is some romance that is starting to develop. Like there, some feelings from some of the girls are starting to develop towards the guy. So it could turn into a love triangle or
more.
Because he's been able to look beyond the facade that some of them put on. After that, I'm behind on my One Hit Kill Sister. That show is just, as I said before, that show is just stupid. The concept of it's ridiculous. And I don't know if I want to continue it, but I've watched so many episodes, I almost feel like I have to finish it just because I've invested too much time into it. I know we all have those shows that we've hit that point of. Konosuba, An Explosion on This Wonderful World. The backstory of Megumin has been fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. It has been a wonderful look, more in-depth look to a younger Megumin and her story in the Konosuba franchise of how she got to where she got to. All the ridiculousness, the trials, explained her infatuation with explosion magic more in depth. You get to see how her and Yun first meet, and how their friendship / rivalry, whatever you want to call it, progressed from like the start of things into the Konosuba franchise. Like I said, I've been enjoying that one quite a bit. Of course, Kuma Bear Punch. Season 2 of Kuma Bear is just as ridiculous as the first. Very adorable. I also have to laugh at how Yuna as a character is a lot of fun. I look at Yuna as kind of like a little sister, somebody you'd want as a fun little sister, because she's adorable, but she can also be stubborn and a pain in the butt. And you could tell that she's got the gamer instinct because in one episode she finds out that there's mithril in the world that she's living in, and she is dead set on getting the mithril to make a knife for her underling, who does all the harvesting of the animals and stuff, and will do anything she has to acquire it, much to the dismay of her underling. And I'm drawing a blank on the underling's name, which is horrible, I know, but it is quite. It's a fun story, and I've been enjoying it. Another World with my smartphone. It is nice to see that they have been continuing a good storyline for once. Where the whole first season was just like, oh, here's this guy. He dies in a ridiculous way, gets to go to a new world and keep his phone and incorporate things from his old world into the new world. And oh look, all of a sudden he has a harem and da 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 da. And didn't really build up to much. Season 2, there's now a goal of trying to fight these otherworldly creatures, and he's trying to find all the islands of Babylon and the trials he has to go through to get them. I'm sure you found those interesting, Derek.
Well, yeah, but the professor, what do you expect? She was a pervert.
Yeah. And I know, and it's a series Angela probably will never watch, so we won't be spoiling anything for her, but
nope.
In season 1, when he finds the first island of Babylon, the android girl who is in charge of the gardens basically walks up to him, not wearing any underwear or not wearing anything waist down. And the main character is constantly diverting his eyes, basically demanding her to wear something. And that was the test. She had that was the test. If depending on how he reacted, would have determined whether or not they would turn control of that island over to him, or eject him or kill him on the spot. And based on the way that he acted, the professor, who had long since died, who created all these islands and all these androids to basically be the control modules of all of these different world things, was a pervert and could see the future and knew who they were going to have showing up. So of course Toya passed, and they needed a sample of his DNA. So of course the girl goes and just starts kissing him to get saliva DNA. Isn't that how it's always done?
Yeah, because why not?
Yep.
Season 2, he discovers the second island, in which his test is he has to tell the android what color panties she's wearing without moving from the spot he is in. Which the answer to that was clear or not wearing any. Which he had to use his magic power of sight to see a certain area, and so he got a full shot. I forget what the third one was, but it was just as ridiculous.
The third one, there wasn't anything because she's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. Because you've already met X, Y, and Z. So there was.
Oh, that's right. She had to give him a test to see if he could dodge her attack or something like that.
Oh, the one with the giant wrench?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that one, panties, wrench, and then the other one, she's like, screw it, I believe you.
Yep. John says, today is Yugi Muto's birthday. Happy birthday to Yugi Muto. They share a birthday with Gavin Goska.
I have to say, how one of the original anime main protagonists spot the main protagonist. Oh wait, look at his hair.
Where's he sitting in the classroom? Back row by the window.
I don't know. They really don't ever show him in the classroom. I think season 0, they probably showed him in the classroom more. But season 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! Was dark as crap. Like, I read the manga for those arcs, and dang, I mean, the guy would literally when he would challenge him to a game, they literally one of the games they played was a stack of money. They put it on their hand and they had a knife, and they had to grab as much money as they could on the knife, and if they went too hard, they would basically go through their hand. Like, those are the kind of games that they would play.
That's crazy.
Instead of a card game. And of course, the guy that he was playing against tried to attack Yugi, therefore violating the rules. Therefore, he delivered him a very serious punishment. I can't remember. I think he lost part of his mind and did something stupid. I don't remember. Then there's the other one where the guy was pouring alcohol and Yugi put a lighter on his hand, so if he moved, the lighter would fall into the alcohol, and there goes the whole place. Like, season 0 was a whole nother breed.
Sounds like it. Of course, Hines has to make his camera appearance. Hines, you're just hamming it up for the camera right now, aren't you?
He's just like, here, I'm here, look at me.
Pay attention to me.
Where's Haru at?
Probably either in the bathroom or in Evie's room. Hines had to come by to get his nightly loves. He's been very lovey this weekend.
Huh.
He woke me up yesterday morning by headbutting my nose.
Well, that's nice.
And that with loud purring and just love and poof. And then this morning it was doing my hair. He laid on the pillow and licked my head for about 20 minutes.
You see,
Aww.
I couldn't let my cat in to do that kind of stuff for one reason. She was an outside cat, and her claws hurt. And you know that if they're outside cats, you're not supposed to trim their nails because they use those for.
Yep.
Yup.
Yeah, we don't trim his or Haru's nails either. But they're strictly indoor. And HH says, John Knight, you activated my trap card. By revealing a fictitious character's birthday, the highest level monster on your side gains 300 party points.
Well, all right.
Oh, speaking of which, earlier today, speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know if this has anything to do with it. They're actually releasing Kaiba's briefcase as a collectible item. And I'm like, heck yeah.
There you go.
I have to say, but they're charging like $400.
Of course.
I get it. Because Kaiba is one of the original badasses of early anime for that kids would come to see first. And also, if you think about it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pulled Sword Art Online and Dot Hack before they did. Because there was virtual reality pods that they were showcasing in the late 90s, early 2000s when the show first aired in some of the first couple of seasons.
Interesting. I didn't watch any Yu-Gi-Oh, so I did not know that.
It was like episode 40 or something. So Kaiba in the first arc, the 5 people that are like the head of his business, they own a certain percentage of his business. He basically they try to get one of his competitors to take him out, and after Yugi defeats said competitor, he basically fires all 5 of them. And they said, "Oh, before you fire us, we have your virtual reality game ready to be tested." And then they reprogrammed the game, trapping him in cyberspace, yada, 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 yada. And then that forces Yugi and his friends to go into the game after him. And they defeat these people virtually. And then afterwards, they resubmerge about 80 episodes later. And basically, what he did was he put them all in the same situation and had their minds uploaded to cyberspace and where they were forced to wander.
Interesting.
And then in doing so, they end up meeting his stepfather, who did the same thing. His stepfather's actual son, who did the same, who he originally did the same thing. Da, 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 da. At one point, they were threatened to. His stepfather had a satellite that was going to basically beam the whole reality of the world into cyberspace. Basically, he was going to digitize everybody's mind.
That would be a bad thing.
Yeah. So
could you imagine that actually happening, Ange? How screwed we'd really be?
Well, I mean, they're talking about stuff like nerve gear and whatnot from Sword Art Online and virtual reality becoming a thing. So, I mean, it's not entirely far off but like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh was doing all this back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So it was definitely before Sword Art Online came around, and it was either right around or right before the .hack era.
On a different subject, I finally was able to actually watch one of the Trash Taste lives. They uploaded on their YouTube channel one of their live shows that they did out in Los Angeles. So I got to get a feel, even though I wasn't there in person, I got to get a feel for what you guys saw when you got to see them in person. And oh my God, the games were hysterical. The audience interaction was fantastic. I can only imagine what it was like in Boston.
Let's just say, I believe it was Connor tweeted immediately after by commenting about how fucking loud we were.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. And it's funny, Connor tweeted about that, but of all the times that they talk about their shows in the US, not once do they mention the Boston show.
They didn't exactly mention the Raleigh show either, but at the same time, they at least mentioned the fact that which one of them posted about the acorn?
I don't know. I didn't see that.
I don't remember.
I think it was Connor. We basically have a giant acorn that sits behind the convention center. And then we also have, I can't remember if it's that same giant acorn or what that we drop every year on New Year's.
Nah, the response, the reaction we got was basically about volume. And that made sense.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me when you're like, Connor tweeted about how loud we were. I'm like, yeah, that's Boston.
Yup.
And I did have to laugh because it was the LA show that they have up on YouTube is towards the end of their tour. So they told the story of how Connor flooded 4 hotel rooms.
Yep, I heard that one.
I did not hear that one.
You didn't hear? You haven't heard that?
No.
They were in
Yep.
Colorado,
Yep.
and Connor decided he was going to draw himself a bath like he normally does at hotels, and figured while he was getting the bath ready, he was almost at diamond level in TFT, so he was going to sit down and play a quick game or two while the tub filled up. 30 minutes later, he's still playing and he gets a knock on the door.
Oh no.
Which caught him off guard. So he goes, he puts his phone down, steps onto the floor, and his foot squishes into the floor with standing water. And he's like, oh no. Runs over, shuts the bathtub off because it was still running. Still knocks on the door, so he goes and answers the door, and it's hotel staff and management asking if everything's all right. Which he told them that he started a bath and fell asleep. Not realizing as he opened the door, the water was rushing out his door and down the hallway. He proceeded to flood his room, the room beside, and the 2 rooms below.
That must have happened after Boston.
Yeah.
Now, we heard about that one.
But my show was several weeks before yours.
Yep.
True.
Hence, we did not hear about that.
Because I heard them talk about that on one of the Trash Taste podcasts when they got back and were recording those again. So that's where I first heard about the story. And then getting to hear them talk about it on stage. One of the fun things that happened at this show, they're in LA. And of course, California is one of the 2 most popular states known for oranges. And Connor has his wonderful take of oranges the worst fruit, to which people booed. And then somebody in the audience holds up an orange.
Well, not to say, they got to talking about cheerwine here, and someone from the audience handed him a thing of cheerwine. Unfortunately, it was an empty can, but that's beside the point.
This was an actual orange, and Giga goes, throw that up here. And the young lady threw it towards the stage, and it fell a little bit short, so they tossed it up to Giga. And Giga sits there and goes, look, Connor, it's an orange. It's an honest-to-goodness California orange. And you know what? And he starts peeling it. He goes, I'm going to eat this. And, of course, Connor's like, no, don't. That's disgusting. You don't know where that's been. And da-da-da-da. And Giga takes a huge bite out of it and looks at him and goes, oh, my God, that's really good. I'm not even kidding. He goes, this is probably one of the best oranges I've ever had. And he takes a couple more bites. So somewhere in LA, there's a girl that walking around bragging that Giga ate her orange.
Nah, we got to ramble about Dunkin' Donuts. Surprising no one.
Yeah, we got the one where we got the chicken one in a state where they were confused with Popeyes and the fascination with Bojangles. That was fun.
Nah, Dunkin' Donuts was up. I remember Dunkin' Donuts being near the top of the fast food list. And we just kind of had a chuckle at that because we don't necessarily consider Dunkin' Donuts fast food, but God.
And I just sent a picture in the group chat of they had one of the questions they had polling the audience was name something you think of when you say Los Angeles.
Yep, that was they did that on all of us. Name something associated with Raleigh. Name this. Name that.
Boston. Boston's. I believe Boston's number 1 was traffic as well.
Yeah, for LA it was traffic. Number 1. Number 2 was homelessness. Just so people know, while Gigic is hosting this particular part of the show, Joey and Connor have to guess what they think is on the list. I think Joey said traffic, and Connor goes, you guys have an unbelievable number of homeless people. So they got number 1 and 2. Number 3 was Hollywood. Number 4 was Dirty. And number 5 was Famous People.
I'm surprised Expensive wasn't on there.
I'm surprised they didn't have a sports team on there.
Nobody gives a shit about LA sports teams.
True.
I mean, the Dodgers is probably the closest one that people care about.
True.
And the Dodgers haven't been
relevant in years.
About to say, the last time I heard anything about the LA Dodgers, I was watching Mr. Ed.
Well, for me, it's when Boston Red Sox players get traded, guess where they go?
LA.
Yup. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, nobody cares.
Yeah, we call them Lawa.
There's the Clippers that haven't been relevant since their existence.
The Lakers, who nobody's cared about since Kobe.
I was gonna say in ever, but Kobe, may he rest in peace.
Because they had Kobe, they also had Magic Johnson back in the Lakers Celtics era with Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson.
Yep.
The LA Kings, nobody cares about hockey.
I was going to say the Kings moved to Sacramento, but that's basketball. The LA Kings, nobody cares. The
Rams aren't in LA anymore, I don't think.
The Rams are in LA.
Oh, okay. They stayed.
They went back. The Rams were in LA, went to St. Louis, came back to LA, and nobody cares.
I think there's a soccer team, but nobody really cares about soccer.
The Galaxy?
HH says that the Lakers haven't been relevant since 1997.
I believe the soccer team is relevant because of David Beckham, but again, nobody cares. And as far as hockey goes, are we counting the Sharks?
That's San Jose. That's not LA. And no, because they're not very relevant either.
Ed Todd's giving a shit for going to sports.
This should surprise nobody.
No, it should not.
I'm still waiting for a disc golf anime. Darren's still waiting for a bowling anime. They've covered many other sports. They had an anime about kabaddi. I didn't even know that was a sport until Chiho School Road. And even then, I thought it was made up for that anime.
So, on the topic of hockey, Vegas won Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals for this year.
Yeah? I have not. Once the Bruins were out, I stopped paying attention.
Granted, I think the only reason anybody should care is because they beat the Florida Panthers.
Which beat our Hurricanes.
And
which beat the Bruins.
Hence go Vegas.
And I'm going to be, even though I don't care because the Celtics were knocked out, I'm rooting for Denver. I don't think anybody's beating the Nuggets.
I will say I was rather impressed. The Celtics almost pulled off the reverse sweep.
Which I think we were talking it never happened before?
Not in the NBA. It's happened in baseball. It's happened in hockey.
But never in basketball. And the Celtics just didn't even show up for Game 7. I watched that, and they couldn't throw the basketball in the ocean sitting in a boat in the middle of it.
But when they were down 0-3, someone in one of my Discords was cracking jokes that they needed to sweep, and I said something, basically bringing the 04 Red Sox into this, and they almost did it.
Yeah, I said the same thing at Domino's, saying, how funny would it be if the Celtics came back being down 3-0? That would really give the city of Boston something to brag about, because then they'd have 2 sports teams that did the impossible.
However, on a depressing note, both finals going on right now had the number 1 seed come out of the West, and out of the East came the number 8s. Because guess who had the number 1 seed going into both the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, and who choked them away?
Boston.
Yep.
No, Boston was 2 seed for the Celtics.
Then the article I read was wrong.
Celtics were 2 seed.
Because the article was claiming that Boston. Someone commented that Boston choked both number 1 seeds.
No, the Celtics were number 2 seed for the playoffs.
The Bruins broke all kinds of records and clinched the number 1 seed with still like a week and a half to play. And then they didn't show up to play in the final. And yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
That's our sports talk for the night.
Yep.
And everybody's poking fun at the fact that we're talking sports, and HH had a brief flirt with chemistry earlier. We've gone chemistry, food, sports, a little bit of convention talk, and a little bit of anime talk.
And Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. We had Luke on to talk about Railcity, and we went off on Star Wars.
I was going to say, he's the one that started the Star Wars.
And then we went off on food. And we didn't talk a ton about Railcity, which I feel bad about, but he is so much fun to talk with, and to give all the vendors a proper shout out. We touched on a few of them who are going to be there. The vendors who are listed right now include Talking with the Dead, Nerd Urbanity, One Up Games, Daniel Macaluso, R2 Builders Club, the Montreal X-Men will be there. Of course, Anime-Zing Radio, Bill Diamond, Robert Brunel Jr., Heather Farrington, Dice and Kitties, Rose Forcier Studios, Cerulean Sea Creations, Make-A-Wish, Ali Salaman, Reckless Sidekick Productions, TNC Comics, Danman Comics, NVU, Pixie Loves, Starforge Sabers, Handy Toyota, Tapa Games, Vane Artisan Designs, Jimmy Beal Art, Out of the Shadows Creation, Goldfathers, Noah Limanek, RG Artistry, The Hero Shack, Home Slice Puppetry, NYE Mechworks, 501st Green Mountain Squad will be in attendance, Ghost Babe Boutique, Casey Fox, Wolf's Den Armory, Rob Bliss, Mama Lima's Bake Shop, It's Getting Dicey, Delicious Chocolate is going to be there, Fireside Commodities, Astro Munchies, Missy's Little Mistakes, Laser Brain Studios, Vermont Gaming Academy, Dungeons by Dan, Vickery Arts, excuse me, Enterprise Comics, Plato's Closet, Space Cow Illustrations, Valahant, Jesse Dorona, Low Point Apparel, Bill Lutz Art, and of course, Christy Rothrock will be joining us as well. So a lot of fun that's going to be going. Thank you, John. A lot of good stuff going on at Railcity. Like we said, Saturday, we might even do a fun little treat of Angela partaking for a live hour D&D session where you get to see her in her element. She's going to bring out Maple and just destroy everyone.
I have multiple builds of Maple. Granted, I don't know. I might have to scale them down.
And that's a story we always love when she brings that up. But a lot of fun going on at the end of the month. Come on out to Railcity Fan Fest if you're up in the New England area. It is a really good time. Luke puts on a fantastic show. I was, like I said, a million times, I was very impressed by the show they put on last year, which is why I'm proud to be able to pull off bringing Christy up for Rail City. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I'm super excited. And hey, look at the time.
That's what I'm saying. It's that time. Next week, we are going to be welcoming the folks from Pop Cult Anime. So you definitely don't want to miss that show. We'll be learning about another convention that's been around for a bit. I know, Angela, you've got some friends that have worked with them.
Yep.
And we will be talking with them to find out more about Pop Cult, what's going to be going on there this year. And if you can make that one, definitely check them out. Coming up on June 18th, we have Mike from Crunchyroll is going to be joining us. And then, of course, we're going to be at Railcity Fan Fest. After that, the show's going to be kind of taken over by Darren and Angela. Because I'm going to be going away for training. I will make shows when I can on Sunday nights. And don't be surprised if I do some midweek stuff, depending on days off and things like that. So until next week, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your week here. Keep watching anime. We will see you again right here for more Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Good night, everyone.